We all know that those who set specific goals tend to attain more in life. Think about top athletes and business leaders and how these achievers seem to have accomplished the impossible. Most likely it's been through a lifelong series of goals that they have set and conquered. So today we're going to examine the S.M.A.R.T methodology used to set both short-term and long-term goals and why it's been extremely successful for so many people. Welcome to episode number 5 of the Stacking Houses podcast, where we help working professionals create a solid plan B, a side hustle of passive streams of income through real estate investing. I'm your host, Damon Santamaria, and my goal for each show is to provide you with some practical and inspiring information so that you can create a solid financial plan for yourself. So to help you on your journey, I want to give you a free guide on how to set your goals, because after you hear the podcast today, hopefully you'll be inspired to create or rewrite your goals and aspirations using the S.M.A.R.T methodology. So you can pick this up simply by going to stackinghouses.com/goals. And while you're there, you can check out our free training on where my business partner Jim and I are finding great deals in today's landscape. You can also check out my blog and a bunch of other cool stuff as well. So with that, let's jump in. So goal setting is probably the most important thing that you can do right now, especially if you're just getting started on your investment career. And I know you've heard all the great reasons why goal setting is important, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is that most people just don't set goals. But I know what's worked for me over the last 20 years. In fact, I can't escape my goals. They are written everywhere and I review them daily. I have a large whiteboard in my office, and I have my top 10 financial goals for the year. And this has helped keep me on track when I see other people driving expensive cars and living beyond their means and perhaps going out and partying too much. Look, the idea of goal setting is to keep guardrails on your life and to help keep you on track. It's not meant to be a buzzkill, so I want you to have fun with this. And remember, the fun part of goal setting is not setting the goal, it's achieving them and looking back over a period of time and having that a sense of accomplishment in your life. So right now, I want you to think back to a previous big goal that you set that maybe you didn't accomplish, and think about why you weren't able to achieve this goal. Maybe it was too difficult. Maybe it just became unimportant. Maybe circumstances changed so that it was no longer needed. It's all good, right? But now I want you to think back to that big goal that you did accomplish. Maybe it was graduating from school. Maybe it was running a marathon, or maybe it was a promotion. And once you focused on that goal, no matter how hard, you did what you need to do to get it done, because once you crossed that finish line, you had that awesome sense in your gut that you can do whatever you set your mind to once you commit to that goal. Okay? So now we're going to review the how of goal setting. And we're going to go a little bit deeper here and discuss the famous S.M.A.R.T methodology for setting goals. And S.M.A.R.T is an acronym, and the S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for attainable, R is relevant, and T is time-bound. Now, I've seen different acronyms, but for the sake of today's show, we're going to use these 5 acronyms. So let's first review specific, the S. The goal should be very specific to help keep you focused on the end result. It's helpful to think about the who, what, where, why, and how questions to get really specific. So an example here, I'd like to acquire a 4-unit building in Dallas, Texas through network marketing so that I can cash flow $800 per month. Getting really specific will help you when you go to fulfill that goal, because it narrows down all the possibilities. And in this case, I can focus my search on a 4-unit deal in Dallas that has a certain amount of cash flow, right? Cool. So next we're going to talk about the M, which is measurable. And as the old saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. Being able to measure the goal will create a definable finish line that you cross by the time you complete it. It'll also hold you accountable to a threshold that you should be stretching to achieve. For example, I want to acquire 16 properties that cash flow a total of $6,400 a month to replace my full-time income. So in this example, I'm not only being specific, but I can also define my success by the amount of cash flow I need. In this case, $6,400 a month. Okay? So moving on to the A, which is for attainable. And this one is really important to the psychology of goal setting. Are the goals that you're setting achievable? It's kind of like the Price is Right game show. You don't want to be setting your goals and your thresholds of what you can accomplish too low or too high. If it's too low, maybe you didn't push yourself hard enough. If it's too high, then maybe it was unachievable from the beginning. So one of the pro tips that I use is, you want to be careful that the goal you're setting is not tied to a force beyond your control or linked to someone or something else solely being responsible for you attaining that goal. So, for example, I want to secure an interest rate below 4%. Well, regardless of how hard I try, there might be forces, outside of my control that prevent me from achieving this goal. Okay? So now moving on to the R, which is relevant. Not only should, it be specific, but it should also be significant to you. Why is this goal so important to you personally? Answering, this question will drive you to think more deeply about your purpose and your belief. So this is an incredibly powerful exercise to better understand why your goals are so important to you. This is your why in life. You may ask yourself questions like, am I the right person to complete this goal? How does accomplishing this goal fit into the greater purpose that I have? And how will this change my relationship with those around me? So this is why goal setting can be difficult, because it forces us to really define who we are. It forces us to look deep into the mirror and define why we do what we do. And in this area, you may want to think about your family, friends, yourself, and the emotions of your relationships and how accomplishing a specific goal will make you feel in the future. For me, being able to pay for my kids' private school tuition in college is incredibly important. To give them the gift of education. This is a large part of my why. So you should spend some time here on the relevance of your goals. Okay, now our last attribute is T for time bound. How long will it take you to achieve the goal? This will be the basis for short-term and long-term goals. When I set out to become financially independent, my short-term goal was to acquire a new property every 3 months. My long-term goal was to build up enough cash flow of properties within 4 years to be able to quit my day job. So this spreadsheet, and I know you probably can't see it, I'll kind of zoom in here, but this is the spreadsheet that I used to help keep me on track because it had a time component to it. Every month or every quarter, I had a specific goal for acquiring a new property. So I set a specific date to reach my financial freedom day or retirement from corporate America. And I monitored this at regular intervals to help keep me on track so that when times got tough and I had setbacks, I had something to reference to. And I saw that for every property that I acquired, it got me one step closer to my goal of financial freedom. So the other great part of goal setting is planning your acquisition strategy. And this is the part that got me really geeked out because I loved the process of planning my escape route from corporate America. And I can recall one time dreading flying on a business meeting. And on the plane, I should have been reviewing my sales pitch, but instead I would write in my notebook various ways to make enough cash flow to quit my job. And actually, right here, I have that notebook. So right here is one page, and I've got pages upon pages of notebooks. And everywhere you'll see, a different idea, a different property, and how much cash flow that property would give me. And I would do math calculations, and I said, if I could just, acquire this property or this one over here, or a 4-unit, property here. But I've got pages and pages of these written all throughout my notebook, and it was written over time. And sometimes the important part of goal setting is just that daily or weekly, whenever you get down, write your goals down, because those goals and focusing on them will help you get you through the tough times. So I used this notebook when I was kind of towards the end of my corporate career, and I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. If I just acquired, 5, 6 more properties, that would be enough income to replace my W-2 income. So, I would plan and update and iterate, and I became obsessed until I finally escaped the rat race. And I know, if you're just beginning your journey to financial freedom, this can be a long road. For me, it took 5 years, but I want you to think in terms of your overall lifespan. How long is 5 years compared to, till the time you would normally retire? Most people have to work nowadays 65 till they're 70 in many cases. And I think 5 years is a short amount of time, and it's achievable if you set your mind to it, to become financially independent. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I want you to download the guide on how to set your goals and spend considerable amount of time here. And, I want you to create a new goal, and your new goals for the remaining part of 2021 and looking into 2022. What can you accomplish over, the next 15 months or so? And I'm going to help you with your first goal. And that first goal is to get your first deal, your first real estate deal, under contract in the next 8 weeks. And that's an aggressive timeline. And if you're on board and you're with me, you're going to say, how am I going to be able to do that in 8 weeks? I know very little, right? So the best way that you can do this is by signing up for Stacking Houses Academy. It's our course that Jim and I have mindfully put together. It's an 8-week course. We'll take you through every step along the way, starting with getting your financial house in order. We continue on with looking at properties and building your team out, and looking at underwriting your deal and all the finances that the financial documents that you'll need to put together in order to underwrite your deal. And we'll take a look at other things like property management and home inspections, and partnering up with realtors and agents and CPAs and attorneys. But the course is designed to take you through. It's a self-guided course, and it'll take you through every step along the way. And you're going to see that each one of my podcasts that I put out is another step in that process. So the podcast will correspond to the 8-week course. And there's no doubt that if you keep going with each lesson in the course and you take massive action, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get your first deal under contract. So I'm going to end today's show with one of my favorite quotes. It's by a guy named Grant Cardone. Perhaps you've heard of him. If not, look him up. But this quote goes, "Grind while they rest, study when they party, and you'll live like they dream." Right? So finally, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, my goal is to provide you with some incredible value each and every show. And so for today's episode, I want to give you the guide on goal setting, which you're going to go to stackinghouses.com/goal, and you're going to download it for free. And you can check out all of our other great content there, including my blog. And so until next time, this is Damon with stackinghouses.com. Happy investing.